Hi guys, and we are back. We're continuing Wellness Month on Candace and Reed, and today we have a special guest, Achea Redd, who is a friend, a mentor, and really just, she's my ace, to be completely honest. She's someone that I know that I can go to in my times of need, and she's gonna be honest and real with me. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Do you even remember how we met?
I do. So Zany Hernandez introduced us and thought that we should connect, and we knew each other from Instagram, obviously.
Yeah.
But then we met at Kitty's Cakes, which is in Bexley, which is the best cinnamon roll place. Sorry.
And latte.
Oh yeah, lattes are good
And
too.
well, actually, the inside out like Oreo cupcake. Just
I haven't had that,
get
but
all
like
the things.
everything, just buy everything on the menu and just sample all of it.
Yes.
So we met there one morning, and we talked like for about an hour and a half-ish.
Yep.
And it was a great conversation, and that was the start to our beautiful relationship.
Yeah. I cried my eyes out during that time.
I was gonna let her say that.
Yeah. Sobbed like a baby. And I don't know what I was expecting when we met, but I cried a ton, and I feel like for me it was the first time I ever felt permission to just like let it all out.
Yeah.
Like I feel like so much of my life I've been like contained in this perfectly projected picture, and it was the first moment where I could be honest about like my traumas, things that I had dealt with, why I felt the way I felt about certain things. And so you gave me that permission, and that was a really like beautiful start for me. It was the beginning of my like wellness journey with dealing with things.
I had no idea. I mean, we talked, but like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, that's awesome to hear that. I guess you just never really know, like, what your journey and your honesty and transparency will probably do for other people. But I will say that, like, I was a little nervous coming to meet you because, you have this wonderful platform of influence, and you just have really worked hard to get to where you are. And I think for me, like, even in my journey, it's been really difficult to connect with other women. So I think that when I first met you, I was nervous, like, oh my gosh, like, what if, I mean, it's just a normal thing that I think you go through when you're connecting with someone new, and you don't know what to expect, and you've never met them before, and you're kind of putting yourself out there. And that's really cool to hear that it was like kind of mutual on both sides.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
It was.
So tell us a little bit about Real Girls F.A.R.T, some of the work you're doing, and like how you arrived to this moment.
Yes, so Real Girls F.A.R.T, it is a thing, and we do really fart.
I mean,
yeah,
we don't want to talk about it.
We don't want to talk about it, but see, that's the whole point. I know, right? So great segue, Candace. Thank you so much. So we don't want to talk about our mess ups, right? Our things that are not viewed as perfect, as you said just a little bit ago, is like this view or this image of perfection. And I think as women, like, we are kind of forced to believe these ideas of like perfection, and whether it's our looks, whether it's our behavior, what we say, what we don't say, all of those things. And so I started blogging about 3.5-4 years ago. I called the blog Real Girls F.A.R.T because I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and depression, and I had a nervous breakdown, and I decided to get treatment. And part of my treatment for myself was to actually start writing everything out. So writing my journey and how it was like going through the treatment and therapy and everything. And I had many women that would reach out to me and say, hey, keep doing it, keep talking about it. And so the blog became like this social media platform that, women kind of come and they receive inspiration and whatever you want to call that. And I just kept just writing and putting content out there. And then it went as a natural progression from blogging and being influential in the space to actually advocating for other people, women in particular. And I really love to help be influential in this mental health space with women of color, because we have more stigma.
So many stigmas.
Yeah, we have more stigma surrounding fart, surrounding, mental illness. And so I called it Real Girls F.A.R.T. It is an acronym. It stands for Fearless, Authentic, Rescuer, and Trailblazer. Those are the 4 pillars that I kind of hang my hat on. It's the Real Girls F.A.R.T. mentality. We have to be fearless in how we tell our stories, how we approach our life. We have to be authentic in who we are. And then once we get ourselves together and we figure out what our story is and we use our voices, then we go back and grab somebody else and show them how to use theirs. And in that way, we blaze the trail together as trailblazers, because we do things and we accomplish more together. And so that's kind of
I like
what
that.
it is.
I like that. Okay, so let's just talk about rescuing.
Yeah.
Being a well for and a source of inspiration for other people is an incredible gift.
Yeah.
I think you and I both know that.
Yeah.
The work that I do, we're always giving of ourselves.
Yes.
But also it's really, really easy to get drained.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so I want to talk a little bit about our personal challenges and things that we've dealt with. I think oftentimes people think that we have these perfectly projected pictures, I'm a stylist and an influencer and I'm married to a white guy and I'm going to have beautiful biracial babies one day.
You will. Yes.
And that I have it all together, but I don't have it all together.
Yeah, we don't have it all together.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
It's true.
It's true.
So tell us a little bit about your story, some of the things that you're dealing with and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, honestly, and that's something really important to talk about because, you would say Achea, she's got it going on, and especially in the mental health space, I'm constantly getting messaged about ways that I can be of service or helpful to people in the community, whether it's here or abroad.
Yeah.
And I don't have it all together. I'm still trying to stay recovered and stay in a healthy place. So what I've learned in my recovery is putting those healthy boundaries, has been super important for me. And it's a work in progress, honestly. It is I just, I would love to say yes, I've got this thing figured out. But the reality is that there are some days when I'm just burnt, honestly. Burnout is a real thing, and it definitely doesn't, help that I am a woman who is a wife and who is a mom. I have 2 kids, 12 and 9. That are male, female, so their needs are very different. And one's in middle school, one's in elementary school, so that's different. And I'm just saying, if you don't have kids, let me just break it down to you. Parenting in this day and time is so much different in the world of Instagram and what is it, Snapchat and TikTok.
I'm I don't even know what TikTok is.
I don't want to know. I only know because I have to know, because I've had to delete it off my son's phone several times. But it's just all of these hats that I am wearing right now in my life. I have to stay grounded for myself in full, right? Because what's in my cup is for me, but what's the overflow is for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just a really good, thing to kind of live by.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll talk a little bit about mine. I feel I don't know where to start. I think what I've uncovered lately and what's been going on in the background is I've been dealing with the trauma of not having a father present.
Yeah.
And I thought that I had so dealt with that. And that's really been at the core of of all this digging I've been going through. And I realized that all the issues and emotions I feel are all tied back to that moment, you know? So worthiness, performance, perfection, all of those layers are tied to that missing piece that I didn't have. So I've been digging through that, and people are are you okay? I'm I'm okay. I'm just feeling the feels that I never felt. And that's it's a weird emotion when you thought that you had dealt with something, you haven't dealt with it at all.
Well, a lot of times, we think that we've dealt with it, but really all we've done is just bury it.
So deep.
So deep. Because you don't want to feel things that don't feel good, right? It's horrible to feel those feelings, but that's what you have to understand is when you feel those feelings, healing is on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool about it. There have been times that I have been all up in my feelings and just in the bed, hiding under the covers, and then take a break from crying to binge watch some cheesy episode, on Netflix or something. And, it's it's necessary. Those moments of crying and feeling and not bottling up are so important because it actually gets you to the place of complete freedom to be human. Like there's this song, I don't even know who wrote it, but the song that they say, I'm only human. Like I forget it, but it was like, I'm only human.
We'll find it and we'll put it in the little down in the box.
Like it's a great song. I love it. And the message behind it, I mean, like the story is like the guy like messed up pretty much in the relationship.
Yeah.
But the message of the song ultimately is like, I'm only human. Like I'm going to feel a certain way. I'm going to have emotions.
Yeah.
And so I think just getting to the point where we realize like our feelings and our emotions are very much an expression of us just being human.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to have those feelings and we can grant ourselves permission.
Yeah. I found that like when I'm going through things, I'm like, am I feeling anything or am I just angry? Because when I'm not feeling anything, I know that there's like a difference in my response.
Yeah, for sure.
So really trying to like, okay, take time.
Yep.
Feel what you feel.
Yes.
And then process and move on.
Yes.
Like and kind of work yourself through it. And like, okay, I feel this way because of this thing that happened forever ago, but that is not truth.
Right.
And kind of move forward that way.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's like, I have these situations all the time where I'm like, you know, like let's just say like my husband and I, like we don't see eye to eye on a particular thing. And like, I don't, you know, I have Indian blood in me, honey. So I'm just like,
you get a little fiery.
I get a little fiery. Like I'm, you know, 0 to 60 real quick. So I'm working on that. I'm working on it. So with him, you know, it's kind of like, I've told you this 1,000 times. Like, why do I have to keep saying this? But at the end of the day, like when I learned to not hold it in. That is the one thing. Okay, hence, you know, Real Girls F.A.R.T. again, like the letting it out. So it's like pun intended on that, right? So like, don't hold stuff in, let it out. Let your emotions like out. And that's what I had to learn to do. Like when I find myself in conflicting situations or like I'm upset about something, I just like try in a healthy way to like express myself and not like hold back my feelings or like shrink myself, you know, because we had talked about that before, you and I, where I talk about like sometimes where I've been in situations where I've been scared to be too much, right? Like you're doing too much, like you're dramatic, you're overreacting. And I'm just like, no, I'm really feeling this. Like this is really a thing. And so just shrinking myself so that I don't become too much for other people was very unhealthy for me. And that is what made me basically implode. And that was what caused the breakdown.
The ripple effect of all these things.
In the beginning, that was, you know, kind of what made everything come to the surface is because I had buried and suppressed and buried and suppressed until I couldn't, like physically my body was breaking down to where I could not hold anything else in.
Wow.
So, true story.
True story. Oh, that's intense.
I know. Sorry.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let me check our notes because we're human and we're not perfect.
Exactly. And like she's keeping me on task.
Okay, so we talked about being a well and a source of inspiration for other people. It's like, it's a responsibility that we both take very seriously, but it's also important, like you were just saying, to stay well. And so like having boundaries. So I know you're going to share some tips with us. It's 5 like digestible tips on how we can be a source of inspiration in a great way, but also take time for ourselves. And then I want to be sure to call this out. So being a source of inspiration or a well for others, it looks like a different thing for everyone because all of our relatives are different. And so for us, we are using social media as a platform to be a well for others, but this is relevant for a stay-at-home parent, someone who owns a business, husband and wife. These tips are, I think, applicable to anyone in any lane. Yeah.
I definitely agree. So let me see. Let me go into my little tips here.
In your arsenal.
I have many tools. So I was trying to think of the ones that I wanted to share with you guys. So first and foremost, I try to get out in nature, like take walks around my neighborhood. Like, I know that sounds so simple, but it's just really being out with the trees and like just walking and like I throw in like a book or something like that and I just get out there and I breathe in the clean air. That has always been very helpful for me. If you don't enjoy doing that, find some kind of movement that you enjoy doing. Another thing is I love 90s R&B. Like,
and we know this.
Oh yeah, because media. I posted on my Instagram story all the time where I am in my closet, which by the way is my favorite place. That is like, I don't have like a woman cave. I don't have a she shed. I don't have an office.
You got a wardrobe.
I got a closet though. So I'm like in my closet, and like I'll be in there. Like if I've had a rough day, my husband will know, because like the 90s music is on and it is loud to the point where I can't even think. Like those thoughts that like race in my head,
can't even
process them. So I'm in there and I'm like jamming to like all of these songs that I like used to listen to back in the day, like sneak and listen to, by the way, because I am a preacher's kid. So that's another thing that I do. Color. I like to color,
okay,
but not adult coloring books. I'm sorry, like
they're not the business, are they?
No, like I've tried to find one that is not so intense, but like those lines and all of those like distinct like things are just so.
I feel like that's like actually awful for a perfectionist mentality.
110%.
Like I would be like, color outside the line.
Like trying to figure out like I don't know, exactly. Okay. So I use like the kiddie books.
Go to the dollar store.
Go to the dollar store, get some kiddie books, or you can just like download like some printables or whatever, and just like print off some off the internet. Like I do that all the time. I have a stash in my drawer beside my bed.
I love that.
So then let's see, what else do I do? Yoga. I love hot yoga. That is like a thing. Like, cause I feel like I can sweat out all of my frustrations, and like it's just it's kind of euphoric, honestly. Like the first time that I ever did it, and I did a certain stretch, like I did a hip stretch and I started bawling my eyes out. And they say that, the hips are like the junk drawers of the body where you store all of these emotions. Yeah. And so that was like, for me, it was true. It really happened. So that's super enjoyable for me. And I would say probably the last thing, I enjoy alone time. Nice solitude in my room, watching TV, like that doesn't mean anything. I don't read self-help books when I need to refuel.
That is a no-no.
It is a no-no.
I need to write that one down.
Yeah, I know. Well, because those are the things that I'm interested in, right? Yeah. But like, I really think that it would be helpful for me at this point to pick up a novel or a memoir of some sort. So like, I have to realize that that's something that I am trying to do. So instead of TV, I'm trying to replace that actually with like reading something that's like an escape or something.
Yeah.
So
okay, here's a question. So what do you do when we talked a little bit about alone time? I agree. I think alone time is key. But sometimes I find that like in my journey, alone time is not always good. Yeah. Because I'm not in a mental place to be able to filter out truth from the lie.
Got you. So what I would suggest, if that's the case, is do opposite of what you're wanting to do. So if you want to just go in your room and be alone, and you're like in that mental space where like, oh, I don't know if this is like a truth or a lie, get out. Go out, like get out of the house, go do the dishes, go take a shower, like do something that's not lying in your bed under the cover.
Doing all that thinking.
Yes, that's what I would say. Do the opposite.
I find most damage done.
Yes. Oh, 110%. Like
Jason's
nobody can beat
what
you
are
up
you
like
thinking
your
about?
own mind.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things.
All the things. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know.
Bye guys.
Okay, we gotta do the official sign.
Oh yeah, we gotta do the. Okay, sorry. Okay. See, you can tell. Like I don't do this kind of thing.
It's okay. We love you anyways. Okay. Well, that's it for today's feature. There'll be a little bit more information on the blog. Tell us how we can stay connected with you and what's happening with Real Girls F.A.R.T.
So you can stay connected with me on Instagram at Real Girls F.A.R.T, Facebook Real Girls F.A.R.T.
Which you have a big community on Facebook.
I do. I really do.
That's so abnormal in today's.
I know. It's like I'm trying to figure it out because like my Instagram is like, just getting up there. So it's like, what is going on?
Now that I think about that, that's not a surprise at all because of your demographic, what age you are.
Oh, is that what it is? Because my age. Oh.
I'm saying like you were talking earlier about older women coming to you. They're mainly more of a Facebook audience than like millennials.
Which I think, I don't even do a lot of like, I post like, I don't know, anyway. So.
You can find me on Facebook.
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. And then book 2. So book 1 is already out, Be Free, Be You. But book 2 is coming out.
That's awesome.
I know. The week of November 16th.
Do we have a title? Can we share the title or
no,
not
we
yet?
don't have a title yet, guys. I'm not telling that
Okay,
just
fine.
yet.
That's fine. That's fine.
I can tell you off camera what I'm
She'll tell me.
thinking, but this is definitely less of an inspirational book like the first one.
Okay.
And this book is more self-help.
I like it. How ironic.
Yeah, I know, well, right? So anyways, yeah, just hit me up on Instagram. Like, I'm always on there, and yeah, I'd love that. And you can find me on my website at AcheaRedd.com or realgirlsf.com.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.